Highlight like a pro. Hello, in this video I'll show you how to improve your reading comprehension of college textbooks and other academic and professional publications with a highlighter. On the right side of your screen is a press release from J.D. Power that I highlighted today. On the left is the original press release. This press release is a 7-page document released by J.D. Power in February of 2023 presenting their research on vehicle dependability. J.D. Power does ratings of car dependability and other consumer ratings. This is a 7-page document, and I'm going to show you how I highlighted this document, and then with the original on the left and my highlighted document on the right. First, some general guidelines. Guideline number 1, keywords and context. Keywords and context. When you're highlighting, your number 1 goal is to find keywords, the most important words in the document, which means you need to follow an 80-20 rule. 80% of the page or more should be white. You should only highlight 20% or less, maybe 10% or 5%. The key is to be selective keywords. Context refers to what is this document about, and where does this paragraph fit into the overall structure? Keywords and context. Similarly, compress and connect. As you're highlighting and reading the document, you want to compress and connect. Your brain likes to connect things to larger structures, to past information that's already in the brain. The brain likes compressed information. It likes things that are crystallized and compressed into high value bites that are easy to digest. Similarly, another way to think about it is to summarize and structure. You want to summarize the information into smaller parts. Structure, you want to see the overall outline and structure of the writing. So three tasks that I perform as I'm doing highlighting is I highlight keywords selectively. I also, when I say draw, I'll use a pen to draw connections, divide lines between transitions, and write pictures and diagrams if I have to. And then I will also write comments and keywords. But again, it's also very important to try to be very selective. Less is more. It's also important to know that when you come across a document, that there's actually 3 tiers of word rankings. Very few of the words are actually important. For example, on the first page of this press release at the top, I highlighted and underlined vehicle dependability. That's what this whole document's about. So if someone came to you and said, hey, summarize this 7-page document, you'd say, okay, vehicle dependability. In fact, one way you can, and actually that would be an accurate summarization. Another way to know that it's a very important word is, what if you remove that word from that document? If you remove vehicle dependability, you would have no idea what this document is about. So we know that vehicle dependability is a top tier 1 word is very important. Tier 2 are words that add understanding. It's like vehicle dependability. Okay, well, what's this all about? And so that's those are also occasionally highlighted, or sometimes not. But so tier 1 should definitely be highlighted. Tier 2 adds understanding, means you need to have this to understand what's really going on. So if I say vehicle dependability and nothing else, you're not going to really understand what this is talking about. But the tier 2 statements, for example here, J.D. Power's 2023 vehicle dependability study reports an industry average of 186 problems per 100 vehicles. And then this study included 2020 models, which are 3-year-old vehicles. Okay, so those are tier 1 and tier 2 adds understanding. Tier 3 are words that could be ignored, actually. So my purpose in reading here, and you need to have a purpose. Why am I reading this document? I'm reading this document because I'm considering buying a new car, and I want to know about the dependability, the long-term dependability of these vehicles. So that's my purpose. So it's good to have a purpose. Sometimes the teacher tells you the purpose. Sometimes you have to come up with a purpose for yourself. So I'm considering buying a new car sometime in the next few months, and so that's my purpose, and that's why I actually read this press release closely. And then going back to the 80-20 rule, look at this first page of this document. Look how much of this paper is white versus yellow. Definitely, I was very selective here. I've seen people highlight whole paragraphs and pages of books. Maybe that works for them, but it doesn't fit in with neuroscience because the whole purpose, like I said, is keywords, context, compression, connect, summarize, structure. So keywords, compress, summarize. Now, if you feel like you need to learn every single word, that's fine, but you still have to prioritize and learn the keywords at a much higher level than you would lower level, lower ranking words. All right, so let's go page by page. So this is page 1, J.D. Power, press release. And like I said, the most important words, which you can summarize with the whole document with, this is a 7-page document, is vehicle dependability. Vehicle dependability, that's what this is about. All right. And so here, I'll flip through here just to give you an overview. So it has the press release, 3 pages, then it has 4 pages of results. So this page was basically, what I'm saying here is this paragraph I did not find important, this paragraph I'm ignoring, this paragraph so I'm basically ignoring a large amount of paragraphs. I'm only interested in the top half. This is about vehicle dependability. Lexus ranks highest among all brands. Kia ranks highest among mass market brands for 3 years. Okay. So this is for 2023, so it's up to date, February 2023. Vehicle dependability study. It says an industry average of 186 problems per 100 vehicles. Okay, this is important too because I want to know the industry average. I need to have a reference, a benchmark. And problems per 100 vehicles, that's the unit. So less is better. So you want fewer problems, all right? And they're looking at the 2020 model year vehicles and their 3-year-old vehicles. And they actually originally studied these in 2020 using their initial quality studies. So initial quality is different than dependability. Dependability is a 3-year measure of problems that occurred, and then the initial quality is 90 days for 3 months. So 3 months versus 3 years. So that's page 1. So I did go through this whole document, but my reading was done in a selective and purposeful fashion. So it's good to say what is my goal. And one of the things that I always try to do is I always try to summarize the whole document. And usually I'll do this with one word or one term. Vehicle dependability is the one here. So I achieved that goal. And I also identified parts that also if you want to master the material, you need to have a purpose, a goal. What are you trying to do? In my case, I'm trying to extract information that I can use to make a decision on a car. Also, what's also important is what you can ignore in your second and third readings. So next time I look at this, I may look at this in a few days or in a few weeks when I'm looking for a car. I'm going to ignore the middle part and bottom part of this page and just focus on the highlighted paragraphs with highlights. All right, page 2. So page 2, one of the things I want you to notice that the top half, it's all white. There's no yellow. When I read this in the future, I'm going to ignore it. It had nothing to do with my purpose, which is extract information that I needed to get a car, to make a decision on a car. Now, somebody else may have a different purpose, but for that purpose, that's why it's good to have a goal. I did find it interesting that Tesla, this was the first time that it was ranked. And however, Tesla does not did not give permission to release owner information in some states, so it's incomplete information. So they did that. Now the bottom part has useful information. So this is something that I want to show here. Notice that I drew with a ruler a straight line straight across. So when I'm doing these divider lines, these are divider lines between paragraphs, I use a ruler. Now the reason why I did this is actually this lower half here. First of all, the top half and the bottom half of this page there's a major they're talking about two different things. Okay, the top part's talking about methodology, and now the bottom half is giving some of the results. Now the bottom half actually has 3 parts, all right, and actually should have 3 headings. It says high-ranked brands. Okay, now there's 2 subcategories of this header, highest-ranked brands. There's premium and mass market. So paragraph 1 is premium brands. Paragraph 2 is mass market brands, right? Now, paragraph 3 is a little bit different. They're talking about parent companies. So Toyota includes Toyota and Lexus. Then you have GM, which includes like Chevy. So they're talking about parent companies, and they're talking about here the model level awards. So it's a different discussion than the first 2 paragraphs. And then the last 2 paragraphs actually is a different topic too. So whenever there is a transition and a break in thought, you want to draw a line, okay? And notice here, I'll explain to you that this little squiggle here is sometimes if I have the way the sentences or the paragraphs presented, I will actually draw a line between all the sentences or parts to help me understand what's going on. So let's look at the first paragraph. This is under highest ranked brands. That's context. So what is this about? Highest ranked brands. We're talking about brands. Okay. This is the first paragraph's premium brands. The second paragraph is mass market brands. So going back to the first paragraph, Lexus ranks highest overall in vehicle dependability. All right. That's overall. Premium and mass market. Among all car brands, Lexus is number 1. Their score was 133 problems per 100 vehicles. Lower is better. Lexus was the lowest and the best. All right. Dividing line between the next sentence. Other premium brands ranking high were Genesis, Cadillac, BMW. And they list their Genesis was 144, Cadillac's 173, BMW's 184. All of these are premium brands, so if you rank them, Lexus is the number 1 premium brand, Genesis 2, Cadillac is 3, BMW is 4. So Lexus is number 1 overall, and Lexus is number 1 among premium brands. All right. Then I draw a divider. The next one talks about mass market. Mass market versus premium. Mass market, number 1 is Kia. Okay, then 2 is Buick, 3 is Chevrolet, 4 is Mitsubishi, and then 5 is Toyota. All right. Why did I draw this line here? Because I looked at the numbers and I saw, okay, looking at Kia 152, Toyota 163, all of these mass markets are actually fitting in between Genesis and Cadillac. So all of these top mass market segments, they would actually rank, if you put the mass markets as a group, the top mass markets would be ranked 3rd if you put them in the premium grouping. So Lexus, Genesis, then the mass market brands, then Cadillac. So that's why I drew that line there. And that goes back to using drawing to make connections. Okay, so again, context, highest ranked brands, Lexus is number 1 overall. Then premium, Lexus is 1, then Genesis, Cadillac, BMW. Then next category, mass market brands, Kia, Buick, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi, Toyota. All right. So moving to another, transitioning and moving to another thought here. Then they talk about Toyota. the parent corporation, Toyota and Lexus, has had the most models that won awards. So they had 6. BMW and GM had 4. Okay, each. Then Hyundai had 3. Now I drew another line because we're moving to another thought here. Okay, so now they're talking about used cars, and what they're saying is, hey, used cars with good long-term quality that are dependable have better residual values, which means that if you own a car that's dependable, like for example the Lexus, after 3 years you want to sell the car, you're going to have a higher residual value. So this is actually a very important point. So like, why should I get a more dependable car? Well, for me, I don't want problems, but actually it means that the car is going to have higher resale value. So now here's the thing that here, notice that a lot of what I'm trying to talk here is, in the first page, I'm not doing context so much, but the lower part of this obviously had information that I found to be interesting and relevant to my purchases. But it was also presented in kind of a confusing way. If I were to rewrite it, I would have used more headings. I would have put highest ranked brands, heading, underneath that, heading 1 would be overall, Lexus number 1. Second heading, I would put premium brands. Number 3, I would put Kia, mass market. And then I would actually even maybe mention that comment that the mass market ones were actually relatively higher ranked when you compare it to the premium ones. Then the third paragraph, I would put another heading. I would put here corporations with the most model level awards. Toyota 6, BMW 4, GM 4, Hyundai 3. Then I would put another heading. Correlation, quality correlates with higher resale value. Another exercise I like to do is when I do these sections, I like to see if I can summarize each one of these sections. But these dividers are very important because frequently when I've read material and the author, the writer, goes from one thought to another without letting me know, I get confused. And there's a reason for that. The brain likes this thing called schema, or the structure, the overall structure, and it needs to be presented clearly and in the beginning. It's just like if you go, it's like a map. That needs to be presented, it needs to be clear, and the writer needs to communicate. So and this could have been easily fixed here, and this just with more headings. And they actually had space. This is page 3. If they added more headings, simply by adding headings, they could have made this better. Or notice how in the top half they use bullet points. So this is actually a good presentation. Bullet point, technology improves appeal for parts. They should have continued this bullet point presentation. Actually, this is a good, here we go. Look at page 1. Here are key findings from the 2023 study. Info systems continue to be most problematic. Then they talk about it. Paragraph, space, technology. This is a good way to do it. So they have overall here. Following are key findings of the 2023 study. Actually, here I would put a big header. Key findings of the 2023 study. And then boldface, then discussion. Boldface, discussion. Boldface, discussion. So this is a good way to present information. They should have continued on with this with header, bullet points, a summary of the paragraph, and then so if you're writing material, if you're writing for this is how I would write. Heading, key findings of 2023, and then paragraphs. Each paragraph has its own thought. When I move on to another thought, I do another paragraph. Okay, and then I like the way that they actually summarize the paragraph with another header. This is a good way to do the writing. All right, now moving on to page 3. Okay, this is what you need to see on this page 3. How much, this is like 99% white. I highlighted very few things. The only thing that I cared about here was that they surveyed 30,000 owners. So their dependability study was based on responses from surveys of owners of vehicles who bought their car in 2020 and have owned their car for 3 years. They're the original owners, and there's 30,000 of these people. So that told me that a large sample size. But from a highlighting standpoint, there's very simple. Again, it's about being selective. I don't care. Again, my purpose is to get information that helps me select a car in the future. I don't care about anything else on this page. All right, now I do like it here at the bottom. It says note 4 charts follow. So there's the remainder are going to be charts. All right. So here's a chart, and I highlighted dependability. So I'm thinking, okay, this is about dependability. Okay, there's actually 4 charts. Let me show you here, or 4 pages of charts. This one, this one, this one, and this one. So I need to know what each chart is about. That's the most important thing. This chart's about dependability based on brand. Okay, we see here Lexus is number 1. The unit of measurement is problems per 100 vehicles. Lexus is number 1. They're the best, and the lowest, 133. At the bottom is Land Rover. They're the worst at 273. They have the most problems per 100 vehicles. Their cars have the most problems. And this is over 3 years. The industry average is 186. So let's look at these numbers. So the average is 186. Lexus is about 50 problems smaller, 133. And then Land Rover is about almost 100 or 90 problems more, 273. Tesla, notable, this is the first time they're actually listed in this research study, and they have a little asterisk because the information on Tesla is incomplete. They're at 242, which is similar to Mercedes-Benz. So now I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, okay, Lexus is number 1. Okay, so then you got this chart is really useful because you can also see the rankings, but you also want to see like how close are they to each other. So you got Hyundai, Mini, and Nissan. They're all at 170. So you got Lexus is at 133, and they're actually significantly more than the next one, Genesis. Then you got Genesis 144, Kia 152, Buick 159. You can see clustering here. Buick, Chevrolet. So Lexus, number 1 is Lexus, 2 Genesis, 3 Kia, Buick, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi, Toyota, Hyundai, Mini, Nissan, Dodge, Cadillac, Mazda, GMC, BMW, and then we get to the average, right? And so here also too is we can see clustering. So Hyundai, Mini, and Nissan, they're all at 170. Looks like Buick. I'm going to say Buick to Toyota, Buick and Chevy, Buick, Kia, and Chevy, they're all kind of similar. But all much better than Land Rover. All right. Next, so this is based on brands. Also keep in mind that Lexus and Toyota are the same, part of the same company. Moving on to page 5. All right. So this is, I always highlight the keywords, but notice here I do more writing and more drawing. I'm doing this because when I first went through these listings, I said, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm like, wait, what's the organization here? What's the categorization? So this is what I did. I highlighted in yellow. I wrote words to help me understand the categories. And what I'm doing here is this is about connections, context, and structure. So it's not only about highlighting keywords. Sometimes it is, okay? But here, with this presentation, I'm like, okay, well, what are all these words here? How do they fit? So here is where I'm really demonstrating the connections, the structure, connect, context part of the process. So what I did here is the top brands, I put a green check mark. I highlighted keywords. I drew lines between major breaks, and then I wrote words to help me understand what this is all about. Again, we're talking about vehicle dependability, 2023, 3 years, problems per 100 vehicles over a 3-year period. Now the top one, and again, this could have been presented a little bit better. The top one is all brands and all models. The most dependable models are Lexus RX Toyota CHR, and it was a tie. So amongst all car models, Lexus RX and Toyota CHR were tied at number 1. All right. Now that's a separate, that should have been just a separate chart. Now what they did was, looking at all the different models, they broke it down into different segments and categories. So now what we have here in the rest of in the middle part of this page, it's cars. Page 6, SUVs. Page 3, pickups and minivans. So see how I did the structure here? So going back to page 5, looking at cars, I had to try to, it actually took me a while to figure out how they organized it. So the top 3 categories are compact, and then you have mid-size. And I'm like, okay, well, what about large? And then in the bottom here, I highlighted, based on their methodology, they needed, first of all, the cars need to be above the segment average. There needs to be a sufficient sample. There needs to be a certain distribution of market share that they like. So for whatever these reasons they even say here, some of these categories they didn't put a chart. They didn't put any awards. They didn't award in these categories. For example, they didn't put an award for large cars, large premium cars. So there could be very high quality cars in these categories, but they didn't list the awards because they have various criteria for giving out awards. Okay, going back to the cars, you have cars, compact, and mid. Okay, under compact they have 3 subcategories. They have compact, premium compact, and sporty compact. Compact, highest ranked, Kia Forte. Premium compact, highest ranked, BMW 4 Series. Compact, sporty compact, Mini Cooper, highest ranked. So those were compact. Transition, break, and go to mid-size cars. Highest ranked is Kia Optima. There's no large cars awarded. Again, there may be dependable, high-quality cars. It didn't fit into their award criteria. Okay, but the main thing here, again, showing this, and I added the green because I needed an additional color. And you can use as many colors as you like. I use different amounts. I like pens with different amounts of inkiness. Some are ballpoint, some are rollerball, some are fountain pens. The yellow is my primary highlighter. I've tried different colors of highlighters, but the advantage of yellow is that you can read through it. So I've tried other highlighters such as blue, and when you highlight that word, you can't read the word. And also when you scan, you can't read the word. So yellow is my primary. If you do use another color highlighter, you be careful because you may need to underline or mark in front of the word because it's going to obscure the word. It's going to make it hard to read the word. And then the black I use more for divider and notes. I also use blue. And then green is a good color also that come across. You can experiment, whatever, but when you're doing it, it's not only what's pretty, but how does this help process help you read the information? Okay, now this is page 6. Okay, all of these cars are SUVs. Now this table was presented in a very confusing fashion. That's why I have all these lines. I'm like, what happened here? There's no. This pattern is really weird. So this is how I after looking at it, I was able to do, okay, here's a breakdown. Looking at the left column, top left, compact CC. Underneath compact is large. Then here at the bottom of the left and top right, notice how I wrote using red, mid. So left bottom and right top are mid. Right middle is small. And then the bottom you have upper mid. It didn't have to be this way. But they should have just made separate tables. Anyway, so that's why I drew these lines. Again, this goes back to what am I showing here? First of all, if you look at this page, there's very little highlighting. I had to introduce I had to do some drawing here, drawing to show my brain what's the connections, what's the structure. And so I was able to figure this out. This is very busy, but now this table makes sense. I was even tempted to print out this page and actually cut out the squares for the different categories and rearrange it and then rescan it. So anyway, let's go to the left column, and we're talking about dependability. Again, I'm giving context. This is vehicle dependability of cars over 3 years, problems per 100 vehicles. Left, top, left, compact vehicle, highest ranked, Kia Sportage. Underneath that is compact premium, highest ranked, Lexus NX. Underneath compact is a large SUV. These are all SUVs. Highest ranked is Chevy Tahoe. So now going to mid. Mid is in 2 locations. It's on the left bottom and right top. Mid is in red letters. So mid size SUV, highest ranked is Chevrolet Blazer. Then mid premium, highest ranked is Lexus RX. In the middle of the right column is small SUV, Toyota CHR. And then premium small, highest ranked is BMW X2. And then at the bottom, you have upper mid. So right column bottom, right is upper mid-size SUV, highest ranked is Toyota Highlander. And then at the very bottom is premium upper mid-size SUV, highest ranked is BMW X5. Now, in order for me to be able to understand this fully, I had to do this, or actually I still may do this. I may just print it out and cut out the squares and rearrange them. I would do compact, small, mid, upper mid, and then large. And I would arrange it in that manner. So what do I mean by this? So this is helping me understand. But this highlighting method is also good as if someone came to me, let's say this was a school project, or I was working at at JD Power, and they said, hey, I need for you to do a presentation based on this press release. Okay? I need to be able to, in order for me to present this and not sound completely random, I can use this script now because I've identified the keywords and the context to generate PowerPoint slides, and I can use the PowerPoint slides and generate a script where I can do a presentation. So that's what I mean by mastery. If you're truly trying to master the information just for general purposes, and that would be demonstrated for this kind of in professional and academic settings, is through the presentation, like a PowerPoint presentation in front of other people. This is the most efficient way to do it. Okay, now moving on to page 7, a little bit easier here, but this has 2 categories, pickup and minivan. So bottom is minivan, top is pickup. Pickup, there's 2 categories, large, where I put an L, and then heavy and light, and then midsize. So you can see here, basically by doing this, I can then actually make an outline. So on this page, I could put heading 1 pickup, 2 minivan. Under pickup, 1 large, 2 midsize, and then under large, A heavy, B light. So pickups, contents. This is vehicle dependability over 3 years, problems per 100 vehicles. Pickups, large, heavy, Chevy Silverado HD. Pickups, large, light, highest ranked, GMC Sierra. And then mid-size pickups, highest ranked is Toyota Tacoma. That was pickups. Moving on to another category, minivan, highest ranked is Toyota Sienna. So that is, I was motivated to make this vehicle because this document was a perfect example of the type of writing you would see in college textbooks, in business and business writings and academic journals. And if you're lucky, the writing is in a way where you could just simply use. At a minimum, you should always highlight. But the second part of the highlighting thing, which is to try to figure out the structure, the connections, and the context, that's when you have to do some creative work. This can also help you make you a better writer. Being an active reader helps you be a better writer, because if you understand the what it takes to be a good reader, then it helps you be a better writer. So if I'm writing this, I would actually, the best examples would be, this is a good example where you do I would do heading, key findings. Each thought has a separate paragraph, and each paragraph has a heading that gives a summary of it. Also, too, is like whenever there's a break in thought to a new thought, you got to put a heading there. And then doing these charts. This is an excellent chart on page 4, but I would have broken this down into more charts, especially page 6. This should have been completely redone. Now, let me tell you this. This is what I consider my full treatment. I have done this to read the most challenging materials. Especially, I've read a lot of legal writing. Some of them are very, very challenging. It requires massive breakdown. But I have to say that when breaking it down like this, highlighting and then and annotating the documents, I was able to master every single document that I've come across. Also, too, this is an excellent script for then preparing presentations, PowerPoint slides. Another thing, too, is what it's important to do is, let's say you were in a college course, and this was material that you needed to learn for a college course. Once you've invested the time to do the highlighting, the reviews take a fraction of the time. In one situation, there was a chapter of a business textbook which was 30 pages. That took me about 4 hours to highlight. So 30 pages took me 4 hours. But to review the material, once I highlighted, those 30 pages only took me about 30 minutes in the second time. And then subsequent times are quicker, so I can do a review like 15 minutes. So repetition is also important too. I'm going to have to say that in order to fully digest information, you got to do at least one review and repetition. And what I mean by review and repetition is this. Let me show you here. Page 1. Let's say you're trying to explain this to somebody. Say, okay, this whole document, this 7-page press release about vehicle dependability. Lexus ranked was the highest of all brands. Kia was the #1 mass market. And you go through and explain it, but you focus on the parts that you've highlighted. And then where you've done a lot of markups and drawings for structure, this tells you that you need to really talk a little bit more about context. Okay, we're talking about the highest ranked brands here. Lexus, going on for there. Got to do that at least one time to consolidate. And as you need to master more, you can do repeat. So I would have to say one session of highlighting with at least one review and repetition to actually get a good grasp. But the highlighting probably gives you about 80% of the return. And then to get another 10%, you have to repeat at least one time. So review and repetition and recitation are also very important.